Dear students, let us continue our study in the paper which is Forensic Chemistry and Explosive. And in this and subsequent modules, we shall be focusing on beverages. So dear students, if you look at the learning outcomes of this module, after studying this module, you shall be able to know what does the term beverages actually mean, although this is not a new term to you. How can we classify these beverages? What are the non-alcoholic beverages? What are the alcoholic beverages? What is meant by carbonation? And the significance of beverages from forensic point of view. So let us begin with knowing more about beverages. The term beverage originated from a Latin word bever, which literally means rest after work. A beverage or a drink is a type of liquid which is specially prepared for the consumption of human beings. There are vast varieties of drinks which can be classified as non-alcoholic drinks, alcoholic drinks, vegetable or fruit juices, soft drinks, etc. In addition to fulfilling a basic need, beverages have become an intermingled part of the culture of human society. And this you must have witnessed yourself also, that whenever we go out or we go to someone's place, then different type of beverages are served and we also feel that we should take the beverages. But from forensic point of view, there is very important aspect of beverages. So if you look at that aspect, the study of drugs in drinks and foodstuff can be an important aspect in forensic cases. Generally, beverages and foodstuffs do not have any drug as their natural constituent except gamma hydroxybutyric acid, which is abbreviated as GHB, which occurs naturally in wines and juices. And if we talk about wines and juices, especially these are produced by fermented red grapes. The presence of a drug in a drink can actually raise suspicion as to the nature of the case that may often need forensic investigation. A drink can be spiked to fulfill a malicious intention ranging from abortion, miscarriage, sexual assault and even attempted murder. Such suspected drinks are carefully collected from the scene of crime and are then sent to the forensic lab for analysis of any toxicological material. The basic knowledge about the type of beverage will thus facilitate the analysis, and that is why, dear students, this module will be of quite significant when you are learning that you should be aware about the various classification of beverages, that is whether it is the alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage, and then how to find out if you have collected a specimen from the crime scene, whether it is alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage. Furthermore, in alcoholic beverages, we will see how different percentage of alcohol is there in different types of these alcoholic beverages, which also have a great impact on the nature, that is the person who has consumed. If it is more amount of alcohol, then there will be more intoxication, and this can be one of the factors which is responsible for the crime. We will also try to see that what are some Indian drinks and their process of manufacturing. Like there are some very common old traditional drinks like Hadiya, which is rice beer, then you have Mahua, then Finis is there, arak, palm wine is there, chang, chuak and so on. Similarly, there are non-traditional ones like Brandy, rum, etc. And we will also focus on the illicit liquor in country. That is, many a times the illicit liquor is there, and the component methanol, which is chemical compound, and this is quite poisonous, and because of the methanol component in these illicit liquor, there are often death and blindness which is caused, and sometimes it may be used intentionally also, and so can be a reason of suspicion. We will then have some case study that how the illicit liquors or some cases where the beverages have been used for committing the crime, that we will discuss. So, let us continue our study with the help of graphics and visual in a detailed manner.
Now, we will study about the classification of beverages. The term beverage is very wide as it incorporates a number of drinks, each differing in its contents and manufacturing processes. Beverages are chiefly classified into the following two categories based on the alcohol percentage present in them: non-alcoholic beverage and alcoholic beverage. Both non-alcoholic beverage and alcoholic beverage have been further classified into two categories each. In non-alcoholic beverage, we have non-carbonated and carbonated drinks, wherein the non-carbonated consists of fruit juices, fruit nectars, tea, and coffee. Under carbonated, we have soda and cold drinks. Now moving on to alcoholic beverages, which has further been classified into fruit or sap and grains. Both these categories have further been divided into non-distilled and distilled. Under fruit or sap category and in the non-distilled classification, we have wine, and in the distilled category, we have brandy. Under grains, under the non-distilled categorization, we have beer, and under distilled category, we have whiskey. The term non-alcoholic doesn't necessarily signifies that the beverage should be absolutely free from alcohol. However, a non-alcoholic beverage is a type of beverage that contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. On the other hand, as the name itself implies, an alcoholic beverage contains a much higher percentage of alcohol as compared to a non-alcoholic one. Now moving on to non-alcoholic beverages. As discussed earlier, a non-alcoholic beverage, also known as a virgin drink, is a type of beverage that contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. Non-alcoholic versions of some common and popular alcoholic beverages, such as non-alcoholic beer and cocktails or mocktails, are widely available in the market. Some drinks, like sodas, juices, etc., contain no alcohol, but non-alcoholic wines and beer undergo a process in which alcohol, though removed, may still be present in traces. That's why some states have legally restricted non-alcoholic beer and wine. On the other hand, certain beverages contain stimulant drugs, prominently caffeine, which is marketed as physical and mental stimulant. Such drinks are commonly known as energy drinks in the market. A non-alcoholic beverage could further be subclassified into non-carbonated and carbonated groups. Non-carbonated beverages are drinks that do not contain carbon dioxide. A list of non-carbonated drinks would include tea, water, coffee, juices, milk, sports drinks, etc. On the other hand, a carbonated beverage, which is also called a soft drink, is a beverage that typically contains water, including a flavoring agent and a sweetener. Soft drinks are called soft in contrast to the alcoholic beverages, which are known as hard drinks. Even soft drink may contain small amounts of alcohol, but it should be less than 0.5% of the total volume. Soft drinks may also contain colorings, caffeine, preservatives, along with other ingredients. Next, moving on to carbonation. Carbon dioxide or CO2 is a compound which is made up of one carbon and two oxygen atoms. Carbonation is the process of adding CO2 to a liquid under high pressure, most often to improve the texture, taste, or both. Carbonation in some cases may occur naturally, like in underground water, which absorb CO2 underground, or artificially by application of pressure. Beer is another naturally carbonated beverage, as the fermentation also generates carbon dioxide as a byproduct. In artificially carbonated beverages, when the pressure is released by opening up the bottle, carbon dioxide escapes out in the form of small bubbles, which causes effervescence or fizz in the solution. Addition of carbon dioxide to water to form carbonated water is an example of carbonation. A simple trick to check out whether the drink is carbonated or not is to see whether bubbles evolve on shaking or not. A carbonated beverage shows the evolution of bubbles. Now, moving on to the chemistry. As carbon dioxide is very sparingly water soluble, it has the tendency to escape out from the liquid. The process of CO2 escaping out of a solution is represented by the following chemical reaction. This shows aqueous carbonic acid converts to carbon dioxide and water. Now, why some beverages are carbonated? There are a number of reasons for which the beverages are carbonated. One of these is that the fizzy sensation and the slightly different taste that it produces improves its taste. In earlier times, carbonated spring water, a natural carbonated beverage, was used to cure the stomach ailments. Now, moving on to history. Sparkling wine and beer are naturally carbonated during the process of fermentation, and their usage was reported even in the 17th century. English chemist Joseph Priestley is credited with the invention of first artificial carbonated beverage by bubbling carbon dioxide in water In 1767, a non-alcoholic beverage could also be classified on the basis of effects that they produce, that is, stimulating, refreshing, and nourishing. Now, moving on to alcoholic beverages. An alcoholic beverage is a drink and psychoactive drug containing ethyl alcohol, which is scientifically referred to as ethanol. Alcohol is a colorless liquid diluted with water belonging to the group of inebriants, which are generally characterized by a set of two symptoms, namely excitement and narcosis. Ethanol is a small molecule having a backbone made up of two carbon atoms linked with five hydrogen atoms and a hydroxyl group. Ethanol is formed by a natural conversion process known as fermentation, whereby yeast, a fungus, converts sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The natural sugars found in fruits, berries, and malted grains are fermented to produce the alcoholic beverages like beer and wine. Liquors, however, are produced through the process of distillation. The classification of an alcoholic beverage can be made on the basis of their basic ingredients, that is, fruit, sap, or grain. Each category is further subclassified into non-distilled and distilled alcoholic beverages. A distilled liquor or beverage is an alcohol containing beverage produced by distillating alcohol, that is produced by fermenting fruits and grains. Distilled and unsweetened alcoholic beverages that have a minimum alcoholic concentration of 20% ABV, that is alcohol by volume, are called spirits. The process of distillation not only concentrates the alcohol but also removes some of the congeners present in it. This includes non-distilled fermented beverages such as wine, beer, and cider. Types of distilled beverages include gin, vodka, tequila, whiskey, brandy, rum, etc. In North America, the term hard liquor is used for distilled beverages which have a higher alcohol concentration as compared to the non-distilled ones. Neutral grain spirit is a flammable, clear, and colorless liquid having high alcohol concentration. It is distilled from a grain mash. The term neutral actually signifies to those spirits that lack any flavor. In some cases, other kinds of spirits, like whiskey, are distilled to a much lower alcohol concentration for preserving the mash flavor. Rectified spirit is a neutral alcohol which is further purified by the process of rectification, that is, repeated distillation. Rectified spirits must have at least 95% ABV. Generally, it is employed in medicinal purposes but can also be used in making homemade liquors. Alcoholic beverages also act as a source of energy. 1 gram of alcohol provides 7.1 kilocalories, and each milliliter provides 5.6 kilocalories. Moving on to history of alcoholic beverages. Evidences have been found from the Neolithic era of the use of alcoholic beverages. The earliest evidence of alcohol use was found in Jiahu dating back from 7000 to 6600 BC. The practice of alcohol production and consumption is prevalent in almost every culture of the world, right from hunter gatherer people to nation states. Now, moving on to reasons for using alcoholic beverages. Since ancient times, people around the whole world have been drinking alcoholic beverages. Reasons for drinking alcoholic beverages vary and include being part of a standard diet, medical purposes, relaxant effects, euphoric effects, recreational purposes, artistic inspiration, and happiness. Now, moving on to country made liquor. Indian made foreign liquor, or IMFL, is the official term used by the government. It is differentiated from indigenous alcoholic beverages such as Feni, Toddy, Arak, and others. Alcohol is further divided into two categories, that is traditional and non-traditional. List of Indian drinks and their manufacturing. First is Hadiya or rice beer. It is made up of rice commonly made by the people living in Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, and Chandigarh states of India. Its making involves the use of Ranu tablets, which is essentially a combination of about 20 to 25 herbs and act as a fermenter. These tablets are then mixed with the boiled rice and left to ferment. Next is Mahua. This is made up of the flower called Mahua flower or Maduka langifolia, abundant in forests of Chandrapur and Gadchiroli districts of Maharashtra. The major components of flours are sugars, and additionally it contains proteins, vitamins, organic acids, and essential oils. These are dried in the sun and sent to distilleries. Now moving on to Feni. This is basically made up of coconut or the juice of the cassia apple in the Indian state of Goa. Feni is derived from the Sanskrit word fena, which means froth. Feni is country liquor and therefore not sold outside the state of Goa. Also, Goa has registered for a geographical indicator that would allow it to claim the sole right to term the drink Goa Cassia Feni. Arak. It is a distilled alcoholic drink typically produced in South Asia and Southeast Asia, made from either the fermented sap of coconut flowers, sugarcane, grain, example red rice, or fruit, depending upon the country of origin. Next is palm wine. It is created from the sap of various species of palm tree such as the palmyra, date palms, and coconut palms. Next is Santi. It is an Indian rice-based alcoholic beverage that is made much like sake and is similar to wine in its alcohol content and use. It is made by steaming rice. In fermentation, a mole rhizopus sati is used to saccharify the starches to sugars. Next is Chang. It is a Nepalese or Tibetan alcoholic beverage and it is also popular in parts of the eastern Himalayas. Next is Chuak. It is a traditional rice beer in Tripura made by fermenting rice in water. It is usually drunk on social occasions of any Tripuri ceremony as a ritual. Now moving on to non-traditional. First is brandy. Brandy is a distilled liquor made from a grape base. It has an alcohol content that usually ranges between 36 and 60%. And next is rum. It is mainly the produce of the West Indian islands and also have around 40% of alcoholic content present in it. Now we will study about illicit liquor in country. Any alcoholic beverage made under unlicensed conditions is called illicit liquor. Usually, substandard raw material is used. Often, this is spiked with other chemicals. It is a trade that goes by many names: counterfeit liquor, illegal liquor, fake alcohol, moonshine, bootleg, etc. It is liquor that is produced for sale under unlicensed and unregulated circumstances. This can be produced in small backyard operations. Illegal manufacturers produce counterfeits of well-known brands, produce their own brands, dilute spirits and wines, and produce all sorts of concoctions laced with alcohol. These products can be sold privately or land up in retail outlets or taverns where it is sold to unsuspecting consumers. It is also often the case that customers are aware that they are drinking illegal liquor. Moonshine, also known as white lightning, Mountain Dew, hooch, or Tennessee white whiskey, is a high proof distilled spirit generally produced illicitly. Moonshine can be contaminated mainly from materials used in construction of the still, that is, an apparatus used to distill miscible or immiscible, example steam distillation liquid mixtures by heating. Stills employing used automotive radiators as condensers are particularly dangerous. In some cases, glycol products from antifreeze can appear as well. Radiators used as condensers also may contain lead at the connections to the plumbing. Both glycol and lead are poisonous and potentially deadly. Although methanol is not produced in toxic amounts by fermentation of sugars from grain starches, contamination is still possible by unscrupulous distillers using cheap methanol to increase the apparent strength of the product. Alcohol concentrations above about 50% alcohol by volume or 100 proof are flammable and therefore dangerous to handle. This is especially true during the distilling process when vaporized alcohol may accumulate in the air to dangerous concentrations if adequate ventilation has not been provided. Now, moving on to what makes moonshine poisonous. Under unregulated conditions, methanol or methyl alcohol can be produced with the desired ethanol. Sometimes industrial methyl alcohol or denatured spirit, that is, mixture of ethanol and methanol added by illicit brewers to save costs and in mistaken belief that it will increase potency. There have been incidents where chemicals like organophosphorus compounds have been added to illicit liquor. Methyl alcohol is extremely toxic, that is, 10 ml can cause blindness and 30 ml can cause death within 10 to 30 hours. It is like ethyl alcohol in taste and smell. Now, test and analysis of moonshine. While shaking a clear container of the distillate, the large bubbles with a short duration indicate a higher alcohol content, while smaller bubbles that disappear more slowly indicate the increasing presence of water. A common folk test for the quality of moonshine was to pour a small quantity of it into a spoon and set it on fire. The theory was that a safe distillate burns with a blue flame, but a tainted distillate burns with a yellow flame. Practitioners of this simple test also held that if a radiator coil had been used as a condenser, then there would be lead in the distillate, which would give a reddish flame. Although the flame test will show the presence of lead and fuel oils, it will not reveal the presence of methanol, also poisonous, which burns with an invisible flame. Now moving on to forensic aspects of beverages. The study of drugs in drinks and foodstuff can be an important aspect in forensic cases. Generally, beverages and foodstuffs do not have any drug as their natural constituent except gamma hydroxybutyric acid or GHB, which occurs naturally in wines and juices, especially which are produced by fermented red grapes. The presence of a drug in a drink can raise suspicion as to the nature of the case that may often need forensic investigation. A drink can be spiked to fulfill a malicious intention, ranging from abortion, miscarriage, sexual assault, and even attempted murder. Such suspected drinks are carefully collected from the scene of crime and sent to forensic laboratory for analysis of any toxicological material. The basic knowledge about the type of beverage thus facilitates the analysis. Now, a case study. 7 persons, including a woman, died after drinking illicit liquor in Muzaffarpur on 1st October 2012. The police said that the incident took place at Paru block when some people purchased desi liquor from unlicensed shops at Neknampur and Madhopur. Nearly 20 people fell sick after consuming the liquor and were admitted to a hospital. Muzaffarpur District Magistrate S.K. Mall said, so far there's been 7 deaths, 4 people from Neknampur, 2 from Singhai, and 1 from Madhopur.
So dear students, let us summarize what you have learnt in this module. Beverage is a kind of liquid which is specially prepared for the consumption of human beings. We have also learned that beverages are chiefly classified into 2 heads, that is non-alcoholic and alcoholic, on the basis of percentage of alcohol present in them. A non-alcoholic beverage, also known as virgin drink, contains less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. On the other hand, an alcohol beverage is a drink and psychoactive drug containing ethyl alcohol, which is scientifically referred to as ethanol. A non-alcoholic beverage could further be classified into non-carbonated and carbonated groups. This also we have studied. And if we recall the process or the term carbonation, carbonation is the process of adding carbon dioxide in a liquid under high pressure, and most often it is done to improve the texture, taste or both. We also studied the classification of an alcoholic beverage which can be made on the basis of their basic ingredients, that is whether it is fruit sap or grain, and each category is then further subclassified into distilled and non-distilled alcoholic beverages. And we also studied that evidences have been found from the Neolithic era of the use of alcoholic beverages. The earliest evidence of alcohol use was found in Jiao dating back almost to 7000 to 6600 BC. In this module, we also studied that the presence of a drug in a drink can raise suspicion as to the nature of the case that may often need forensic investigation. A drink can be spiked to fulfill a malicious intention ranging from abortion, miscarriage, sexual assault and even attempted murder. Such suspected drinks are carefully collected from the scene of crime and then sent to the forensic laboratory for analysis of any toxicological material. The basic knowledge about the type of beverage thus facilitates the analysis. So, I am very sure that after going through this module, you have got the idea about beverages and how to deal with this when you are getting a sample from the crime scene and how to analyze. And we will continue this study in the further modules where we will see how the alcohol metabolism happens and more details. Thank you.